Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Susie Laurenson, and I'm the service line manager here at the Institute for Health and Healing. And thank you so much for joining me this morning to hear a little bit about how we can maintain appropriate caution while managing our fear during this very interesting and stressful time that we're experiencing in the world right now. So this crisis has put most of us in some sort of state of fear at one point or another. And so let's talk a little bit more about fear. Fear can be thought of as an experience of the body, mind, emotions, psyche. It's meant to get us out of danger quickly. It's an alert system and a survival strategy meant to preserve our body, ourselves, our sense of self. And ideally, fear is experienced to alert and motivate us around danger, such as you can think of, you're on the road, you see a car coming quickly at you, fear comes pumping through your body and through your awareness, and you jump out of the way of a speeding car. And we have a big adrenaline rush, and our heart's beating, and all of that has helped us get out of the way quickly. And so that's super helpful, right? That's a helpful response. That fear was super helpful. And then, a little bit of time later, we come back to more of our normal state. However, this crisis has put many of us in a state of prolonged fear, and we've not been able to move through it and come back to a space of what I would call appropriate caution. And we'll talk a little bit more later about, what we mean by appropriate caution. But living in a state of perpetual fear, even when it is a low-grade simmer, it's very harmful to the body, mind, and psyche. We start to see the world through this filter or this camera lens of fear. And all of our choices, our decisions, our beliefs, etc., get colored by it. Our body is in a perpetual stress state that is basically drastically lowering our immune system. And so it's actually hindering us from avoiding the danger that put us in a state of fear in the first place, right? If we have a lowered immune system because we're in a perpetual stress or fear response, then we can't appropriately, our body can't as appropriately fight off any interactions with viruses or bacteria or other physical challenges. So it also constrains our ability to feel and experience and express love, because it's a constraining energy. And so not just love, but all the different arms of love, such as generosity, gratitude, kindness, compassion, all of those get filtered off because of this fear state that we're in. And it can be really difficult to get out of this state because we're surrounded by messages, right, that are designed to promote fear oftentimes, especially now, what I've noticed. And again, that fear can have a beneficial effect, right, helping people feel motivated to stay at home, even though that's very difficult. But over time, it's actually, if it's prolonging your own state of fear in your body, it's not being helpful. So it's important at this time to have data, to have the important information that we need, but pay attention also to how that information is delivered. If it's delivered in a propaganda style that's meant to elicit fear, which is what a lot of the news organizations, at least that I've seen, are doing, then we should find a new source of clear, factual information that doesn't put us in a state of fear. Maybe there's particular friends or family members that are really fearful, and whenever we're around them or listening to them, it's also super challenging. I'll just share a quick story where when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I noticed that whenever I looked at a fashion magazine, I became very anxious. And, this was the 80s, so fashion magazines were a big thing, like Cosmo or Vogue or 17 magazine, for those of you in my age group. And I would notice that as I looked through the magazine, I never had the right mascara, or that lipstick would be so much better, or gosh, my body wasn't quite right, or this wasn't quite right, or I would need something to make myself look better, feel better, and whatnot. And I just realized it did nothing for me. It didn't help me in any way. It just made me anxious and fearful. So I stopped looking at them. And I haven't actually looked at a fashion magazine like that in over 30 years. So that's something I did to help myself avoid a state of anxiety and fear that wasn't helpful to me at that time. So let's talk about what it feels like to be in what I would call appropriate caution. Appropriate caution means we have clarity, we have awareness of what's going on, we're not in denial about what is going on, we have some neutrality around it, we're informed of the data and facts, and we are practicing safe behavior. And it's interesting because those of us in healthcare, we understand what appropriate caution is. We practice it every day. We are in situations and in a job where harmful things can happen to patients or to colleagues all the time. And so we have steps and we have practices in place and clarity in place where we can practice safe behavior and safety. So we understand actually on a deep level how to be appropriately cautious. And it's really important at that time to call on that strength and call on that information so that we get through this very different and uncertain time. So let's do a guided visualization that helps to put us back into this, what I would call an energetic space of appropriate caution, and takes us out of fear. Because when we shift actually our energy around fear and that energetic response that happens with fear, we actually can change our physical body, what's happening in our physical body, the adrenaline rushes, the cortisol, the beating heart. We can change our emotional state. We can change our mental state. So if you are not already, find a nice, comfortable way of sitting, feet on the floor, or cross-legged if that's your preferred way of being in more of a meditative space. But get comfortable. Get comfortable. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Closing our eyes just allows us to kind of access that more deeper meditative state. So close your eyes or have your eyes go into more of a half-closed vision. And if you joined me last week, we learned how to do a grounding exercise, how to get grounded energetically. So we're going to walk through that really quickly, and then we're going to add a piece to it. So again, in your relaxed state, take a moment and focus your attention into a peaceful state, ideally kind of in the center of your forehead. Imagine your attention, all of your attention is focusing into, if you're familiar with the chakra system, it would be the sixth chakra. If you're not, just imagine it in your forehead area of your body. And from this space, I want you to imagine a large, beautiful tree in front of you. And it can be a huge redwood tree, a big ponderosa tree, a California oak tree, a banyan tree. It doesn't matter as long as it's strong and big and you love it. It's just a tree that you love. And see that tree in front of you in your visualization, and then walk into it. Allow yourself to walk into that trunk of this tree. Feel it surround you. And then notice how the roots of this tree, they start from your torso area, right below your sternum. And the roots of this tree start growing down. Excuse me. And the roots of the tree start growing down through your body, down your legs, and they start creating a grounding cord, a cord of energy and grounding that goes all the way to the center of the earth. And in the center of the earth, I want you to imagine a beautiful earth space that is attractive to you. So that earth space can look like a beautiful beach or a beautiful meadow or a forest glen or a crystal cave. It can be anything that's appealing to you. So take a moment and allow the roots of your tree to grow and reach all the way down to the center of the earth, not 2 feet below the earth, but all the way to the center. And how appropriate that today is Earth Day. So really embrace the earth. And then as we're getting more grounded and our body is more grounded, our tree roots are strong and growing and expanding, allow the trunk and branches of your tree to also get bigger and wider and reach up into the heavens, into the divine, the quantum field, whatever makes sense to you, the great mystery. So our body and our energy starts to get a little bit bigger and more expansive the more grounded we are. And then let's pay attention to another really important energy system in the body. Again, as we discussed last week, if you join me, the energy systems of our bodies can get mapped out. It's not just some random energy floating around. It's actually mapped, and different traditions will map it differently. But in the yogi tradition, many of us are familiar with yoga, they map it into chakras. That's one of the energy systems. So if we just imagine chakras that are basically just energy centers, they've been called wheels of light, many different things, but just think of them as like different energy centers that are located in the body. And they all have different tasks and kind of connected to different physical body systems, emotional body systems, mental body systems. But that's for another time. And the system that is, the chakra that is aligned with fear is often our first chakra. The first chakra is at the base of your spine. So you can imagine just an energy system, a wheel of light, a spherical energy ball. Doesn't matter how you visualize it. There's no right or wrong. At the base of your spine. And what happens during a fear response or any kind of prolonged fear is that first chakra gets really big. It gets really big. It's like, oh, we got to focus our attention, right? All of our attention goes there. And we focus our attention on that first chakra, and it gets really big and expanded so we can get out of the danger that we are perceiving. What happens, though, is sometimes we leave it big and expanded, and it starts to then perceive everything around us as a danger. That's that lens, that camera lens of fear I was talking about earlier, that we have these filters, right? This filter where all of a sudden everything looks fearful and like danger, unless we get our energy system to calm back down, which then our body can calm back down and we can get back to that space of clarity and appropriate caution. So imagine your first chakra becoming neutral and calm and quiet. Imagine it as this beautiful ocean that is very peaceful. It's like a peaceful sea that's just quiet. It's not, dead or inactive. It's paying attention, but it's not hypervigilant. It's just a calm, quiet sea. There's no crashing waves or big beach. And if you notice crashing waves that are like stormies and white caps and all this other stuff, then quiet it down with your intention. Just quiet it down. Allow it to become quiet, neutral, maybe a little smaller. Might seem like it can go back to a smaller, sweet little sea, not some huge, Pacific Ocean. It's just a small, sweet, quiet, calm sea. So feel that first chakra become quiet, calm, more neutral. And don't worry about if you're doing it right. If you've never worked this way before, energy follows your intention, and it does not require efforting. So not to worry if you're feeling like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Doesn't matter. And next, let's just move up the rest of the chakras and allow that second chakra, which is right above the first, it's right below the belly button, and that one can get calm. That should be a nice calm sea as well. Calm sea in that second chakra, which all of our chakras can get affected, right, when one goes out of whack. So second chakra gets quiet and calm, and then the third chakra, which is right above the belly button, kind of right below the sternum there, and that one can get very active in times of fear as well. And that's quiet and calm. And if you're noticing that any of them feel like or look like a stagnant pond, that's not so good either. So we don't want stagnant ponds. We just want cool, quiet seas in those lower chakras, first, second, third chakra. And as you move your attention up your body and into your fourth chakra, which is your heart chakra, so it's in your heart space there, then the sea can kind of start to wake up a little bit more, be a little bit more active, so to speak. A little bit more action can be happening in that fourth chakra. So maybe it's a little bit more sparkly. Maybe you really see the light glinting off of the water, and there's some movement there. Again, gentle and quiet and peaceful. But there's that movement, a little bit more active. Same with the next chakra going up, which is the fifth chakra. It's in the neck area of expressiveness. And again, that can be a little bit more active. And the same with the sixth chakra, which is in the center of the forehead. It can be called the third eye. And let's keep our attention in that sixth chakra area. And the sixth chakra again can be active, a little bit more going on, a little bit more expansive, but it shouldn't be stormy. There shouldn't be storms going on. There's no storms, there's no wild wave, there's no anxiety. It's a peacefulness, but a clarity and a calmness. That is that state of appropriate caution, as we are clear, we're aware, We're not in denial, but we're also not in fear. We're in the middle of the road in a space where we have alertness and we have discernment and proper discernment. So take a couple deep breaths, and with your attention in your meditation sanctuary, or that kind of third eye, sixth chakra head space, just notice what your body, what your psyche, your emotions, your mental state, what that feels like right now. You're in a grounded state. You're in your center of your tree. Your roots are wrapped around the center of the earth. Your chakras are quiet on the bottom, quiet and peaceful, in a neutral state. Get a little bit more sparkly and alive as we go into the fourth chakra, fifth chakra, sixth chakra. There's a seventh. There's many chakras, but we'll just kind of work on the body chakras for now. And allow yourself to just notice what that feels like. And if you want, you could even get up out of your chair, open your eyes, walk around the room you're in if you want. If that feels more, see if you can hold this, right? Because we want to be able to hold this state no matter what is going on around us. And you can take a moment to even bring in that energy of love and all the arms of love, compassion, kindness, generosity. We have access to that, which is our best state when we're not in a state of fear. Then we have greater access to that compassion and kindness, generosity, which is really what is needed in this time. That is what's needed in this time, not only for ourselves and for our own self-health, but for our colleagues and our families and our friends. So thank you for joining me this morning to create this space that is hopefully feels safe, but also is not fearful. So thanks again, and have a lovely rest of your day.